but be very careful because if you take that irresponsibly,
Yes.
it can certainly result in more harm than good.
Master Coach Apostle Courtney McLean and Business Coach Zidane Sinister are powered up to share their expertise on the business end.
Good afternoon, viewers and listeners. This is another episode of The Business End. And here on The Business End Show, we provide real and practical solutions to advance businesses by speaking to experts in the field and existing entrepreneurs. Today we have in studio, we are so thrilled to have Mr. Greig Lindo. He's a seasoned professional with over 17 years of experience in the financial sector. Now, as the head of Treasury and Corporate Finance for Grace Kennedy Limited, Mr. Lindo has demonstrated exceptional capabilities in dealing with client relation management, treasury management, asset trading in global financial markets. Now, he's also a certified treasury professional. Mr. Lindo also owns an MBA where he a major in banking at the University of London at SOAS, Center for Financial and Management Studies. He also has a bachelor's in administration from the University of Miami. And I tell you, this man is our expert, and I'm very pleased to have him with us here on the business end. So help me welcome Mr. Greig Lindo. How are you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, Zidane. Thank you for having me. Good
Is
evening to your listeners.
Yes, it's certainly a pleasure to have you, sir, and we can't wait to dive and to delve deep into the area of financial sector and financial management. Now, how did that journey start for you? What prompted you to go into the financial sector?
I think it was fate. I went to school, I started with a view to the law.
Yes.
And somewhere along the line, I switched to business.
Yes.
Don't ask me how
No.
or why, but,
Yeah.
but I was interested by some of the courses that were
Yes.
offered at the business school.
Yes.
So I pursued that and ended up doing a major in management
Yes.
and marketing.
Yes.
Leaving school, the first opportunity that came my way was an opportunity to work in the financial sector.
Yes.
And I ended up there for a number of years.
Number
More
of
than I
years.
don't want to say, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I went from position to position,
Yes.
really across the financial sector, starting with client management
Client
and
management.
portfolio management, investment banking, the whole works.
The whole works. And at one point in time, you were also involved in stock trading.
Yes. I was in stock trading for a number of years. I was a broker.
Yes.
At JMMB.
Yes.
She was the number one retail broker. Right?
Yes,
We had
yes.
had a big brokerage book, so
Yes.
I honed that skill for a number of years.
So it's safe to say then, Mr. Lindo, that you would have had all the experience in analyzing companies, knowing when a company is doing well from when a company is struggling, and of course, all of that skill has helped you in your treasury management and that's the other roles that you would have played across the financial sector.
Certainly.
Yeah. So we have with us Sir Greig Lindo, who would have been equipped with analyzing companies that are listed on Jamaica Stock Exchange and across the other regional stock exchanges. So he is quite adept with having the eye for detail for companies that are doing well. And today we want to tap into that level of expertise in order to get some of the gems out and the factors out that would have helped us in order to put our own private companies on the right path as these listed companies. Now, Sir Greig, I know that in terms of your client relationships, you would have faced some challenges in dealing with some clients. And how did you overcome some of those challenges that you would have had?
I think challenge is a strong word, but there's always opportunities, right?
Yes.
So in managing clients, the key is finding balance in terms of giving the client what they want and it also serving a benefit for yourself.
Yes.
Because no relationship should be one-sided, right?
Yes.
We want to service clients as best as possible, ensure all their needs are satisfied. But it can't always be at any cost.
Yes.
So finding that middle ground is always key. Because I mean, clients, rightfully so, they want the best,
Yes.
and you know sometimes giving them the best takes a lot. So you have to figure out how to deliver that service in such a way that you meet their needs, and it also has to make sense.
Yes. So in terms of in business, no, when you're servicing your own clients in your particular business, what it is that Mr. Greg Lindo has said to us is that the relationship cannot be one-sided. You can't see your clients as just a means to an end where you're going to profit from their paying for your service or good. You must also be giving them something that enhances their life, satisfying their goals and their vision that they want for their particular life and vision for themselves. And that is what makes the relationship, client and business owner relationship, that much better when you're able to meet the clients at their need and enhance their well-being.
Yes.
Have I said that correctly, sir?
Very, very much so. It goes both ways, right?
Yes.
You know, your client should be looking for the value, and of course, you want to have value in servicing your client.
Exactly. I know you would have had several experiences across your time you spent in treasury management. Now, a lot of the changes that have happened in the financial international market, I want you to walk us through in your mind what are some of those trends or some of those critical factors that have influenced the global treasury market, and how does that affect, if any, the local business sector?
Great question. I think the central point I'd make
Yeah.
is the monetary policy of central banks,
Yes.
because that varies across the world,
Yes.
but it almost has an immediate impact on businesses,
Yes.
as interest rates
Yes.
typically influence the cost of loans.
Yes.
Are you able to borrow money? What the cost of borrowing that money is.
Yes.
So we're in an environment now where inflation is high. It's coming
Yes.
down, but we've seen where central banks, including the Bank of Jamaica, has tightened the market. So with interest rates being high, you know, if you wanted to buy a car now, maybe you're paying 2 times that what you would have been paying, say, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's gonna, of course, impact certain investment decisions, certain business decisions, because a lot of businesses are not just run on equity or equity capital, but debt capital.
Yes.
So where you have to use debt in your business, which is, it's not necessarily a bad thing, can be a good thing.
Yes.
It has to be more carefully considered now, especially with the cost of that debt.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, some businesses have fared better than others.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with how you manage your debts and your liabilities.
Yes. So I've heard a rumor, Sir Lindo, and I want to know if that rumor is true, that we are experiencing some tightness in our local market, and business owners are finding it a little bit of a challenge and difficulty in funding some of the projects that are out there. Now, what would you say to something like that, and what sort of advice would you give them in terms of if that is indeed true?
Well, I think it is certainly believable.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the Bank of Jamaica increased its benchmark rate to 7%. I think they stopped in December 2022 or so. But with rates being where they are, it is more expensive. It's more expensive for the banks to get money because persons want more for their deposits now. So what advice I would give is be very, very thoughtful and meticulous in how you plan your projects. And I would say where you can't afford to take the debt, don't take the debt.
Yes.
You know, there are other pockets of capital that may be available to you.
Yes.
But be very careful, because if you take that irresponsibly,
Yes.
it can certainly result in more harm than good.
More harm than good.
Even though you're thinking this project might potentially do well, the difference between the project doing well and doing what it's supposed to do is how you finance it.
Yes.
So financing it, finding the optimal financing is key, and take your time.
Yes.
You know, I think we'll be in a better place a year from now than we are probably today.
Yes.
So certainly, if holding off may be a decision you may have to take.
Yes.
But it all depends on the factors that are surrounding your plan and what you want to do. But you have to be mindful of what's going on around you.
if I may piggyback on what Mr. Lindo has said, so and I'm agreeing with, is that you must also see if your project can be done in a phase basis. So if you can approach your projects in a phase by phase basis, you may be able to find the funding incrementally at each stage. Now, the idea is that as liquidity becomes more available and the inflation impetus becomes less, then you might see the fall off in interest rates, and then that may be that an opening with a lower cost of debt. There may be an opening for you to take on more of that project at a later stage, and we are hearing and suggesting that if all things go well, maybe by next year we should see some reprieve in interest rates.
Yes, we hope so.
We hope so. We hope so.
We're
Yes.
seeing the signals.
Yes.
So if it continues, I would expect so.
You would expect so, and that is the advice that we want to give to business owners. Approach your projects in an incremental standpoint, so as the interest rate do some sort of readjustment in favor of going down, then you may be able to take on more of that project at a later date and save you some time, save you some money, so that your project viability and profitability is also improved. Now, I know you would have shared, you'd have gone through the various roles that your previous employment with the JMB group, but you're now at Grace Kennedy being the head of treasury and corporate finance. Now, I know you would have walked through different roles, you would have been exposed to different deals, you would have been exposed to different business owners, and you would have had several conversations with these business owners. Could you share some insight to us here on the Business End Show? What makes a business successful? What it means to be successful?
Good question. I have had the blessing to be
Yes.
employed by two very good companies.
Yes.
And I think high level, what I can say, corporate governance
Yes.
is very, very valuable. Having
Yes.
good, strong corporate governance, which is how you run your business.
Yes.
What are the values of that business? How does that business contribute to the community? Those are things that you have to set from the foundation, and it
Yes.
will guide you as you grow. So certainly having that in place, having in a proper governance structure, it translates throughout the organization. Decisions you make, the why,
Yes.
the how.
Yes.
It makes answering those questions a lot easier
Yes.
once you have a solid governance structure in place.
Yes.
So I would say you have to definitely start there, and
Yes.
you build on top of that.
Build on top of that. And so at this juncture, to having good corporate governance also requires you to have a good board of directors. And these board of directors, which Mr. Lindo had alluded to, is those persons that will make the decisions for you, have the vision.
Right. The board is key for a person
Yes.
starting. I mean, maybe it's an advisory board,
Yes.
and then you graduate into a full board.
Yes.
But certainly having persons that are qualified
Yes.
and able to assist and
Yes.
give guidance to business owners, having those persons around you
Yes.
I think is key to success.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is the point that we want to highlight here, that we must have good governance structure, good board of directors, and just how we arrive at decision and how we arrive at strategy and implementing those strategies is really paramount and critical to the success of our organization. Now, I know in your treasury management, Sir Linda, you would have been needing to have great strategic skill. That's very core to your area of expertise. Now, our listeners and viewers who are desirous of running business, or even themselves are running business, that strategic skill is very important. Some persons are born with it, some persons have to learn it.
Yes.
Now, how would you advise a business owner to develop and implement strategies for success?
I think the first step I would take with that is being as current as possible.
Yes.
By that I mean, if you're going into a business, you need to know everything that's happening around that business, around the economy, what can potentially impact your business. And being successful, it comes down to making decisions that you don't know the future, but based on the information available to you, you make the most accurate prediction of it. So I'd say getting that knowledge, assimilating all that knowledge, and then taking the risk.
Yes.
Right? But it has to start with discipline.
Yes.
And being committed to your craft. So if you're going into a business, you cannot be half. You have to be all in. You have to understand what you're doing, look at the environment, and it's constant. It's not just at a point in time. It's every single day. So that's how you develop a strategy. And what you find is, as you go along, it becomes a little bit easier because you are so tuned into your environment and your business that it allows you to almost predict what's going to go.
Yes.
I mean, only one person knows the future, right?
Yes.
So, but I mean, certainly we can see things that may come down the road from the past. So it's about how you use that information to make informed decisions.
Informed decision. Now, I want to echo a sentiment that you raised, that sometimes you have persons, we have strategic meetings and we go through strategic brainstorming, and we even develop, when we're starting business, these business plans. But you made a great point that these business plans and these strategic plans should not be a one-time event.
No.
It should be something that you constantly work, constantly be flexible. As new information and new trend become available, you have to go back to that drawing board. Go back to what ticks the company, where you want to go, and redefine, retune that strategic plan in order to make those implementation of what is now the best form of movement.
You have to. If you stay static,
Yes.
you're going to be in problems.
Yes.
You're going to be in problems. And the only thing constant is change.
Yes.
So you have to always have that open mind to accept change.
Yes.
And I mean, the buzzword now is pivoting, right?
Yes, pivoting.
So always have yourself in a state of availability to pivot if needed. And not hold on to things because of emotions.
Yes.
You get your emotions out of it.
Yes. So there you have it. You must always be willing to incorporate the changes in behavioral tastes, in behavioral patterns of your target audience. You must also be reminded that your business plan strategic plans are not static, but it must be flexible enough to do away with what's not working. What is working, we improve upon and find ways of implementing the future plans, or where you see the economy going. So let me ask you, Greg, if that is your strategic skills, is your core to business success, are there any other skill that someone needs in order to make them successful in business?
I don't know if I'd put it down to one skill.
Yes, tell us.
But I mean, you have to be committed.
Yes.
You have to have, I hear the entrepreneurs use this term as stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
Meaning, you are not going to change or fall away because something isn't working. You have to be able to stick to it. You have to have a level of meticulousness in what you're doing, being very detail-oriented, ensuring that you're covering all your bases. I mean, you could say, oh, well, numeracy skills. I don't think you necessarily need that. You may need somebody that has that skill.
Yeah.
But you definitely want to be as rounded as possible and try to have as much specialist area knowledge in the areas that you want to do the business in.
Yeah.
Some of the other secondary skills, as I said, you can maybe get people to help you with it. But that motivational skill, that skill of sticking to it, being meticulous in what you do,
Yeah.
those are, in my mind, critical, especially when you're starting with a small business and moving ahead.
So a business owner who is starting business, you're suggesting that business owner can't leave the financing, can't leave the collection,
No.
can't leave
You have to do everything.
can't leave the security to any and everybody. They must have an hands-on approach to ensure that they're able to see where the pitfalls are, where the deficiencies are, and find strategies to improve upon that.
Yes, definitely. You have to. I mean, you're a head cook and bottle washer initially.
Yes.
So you have to have that understanding, and then, as I said, being meticulous is understanding all facets of it.
Yeah.
and then after a while, maybe you specialize in certain areas
Is
and you
it,
leave the ancillary things to others if possible.
if possible?
Mhm.
The idea is that delegation is good.
Yeah.
Delegation does help for you to to capture and to do more. But what Mr. Greg Lindo is advising business owners is that you must have an hands-on approach to business. You must want it more than anybody else. You must want to see your business being successful. You must have the check and balances to ensure that you know exactly what is happening in your business. He says, employ the persons to crunch the numbers, but you must understand the numbers. You must see the leakages. You must also see the linkages in order to make that business work for you. Make that business work for you, and you will see the end results in terms of your profitability and your advancement. Now, sir, Greg Lindo, you spoke about different being able to uh, adapt to the different changes that you may have in businesses. What are some of the new trends that you would have seen? Probably name us a few, and tell us, do you like these new trends that you're seeing in business, and if you dislike them, why?
Well, I think the key one now is artificial intelligence, or
Yes.
AI. That is the talk of the world, right?
Yes.
The use of AI or the proliferation of AI has really expanded in the last year or two,
Yes.
and that's only going to grow. I like it. I think it is forward thinking. There is potential to provide efficiency and totally revolutionize the way we run businesses and the way we work.
Yes.
There's a lot to happen, or a lot to happen, but at the same time, there's a risk in it. As with everything, there's a risk because
Yeah.
AI can be used in negative use cases.
Yes.
So we also have to be aware of it.
Yeah.
As attempts of fraud and all these things have already started.
Yes.
But I think generally speaking, for businesses, incorporating AI is going to be the future. It's just a matter of when. I mean, businesses are going to have to figure out how they're going to become more efficient through the use of AI.
Yes.
Because those businesses that adopt it first are the ones that will probably get the most benefit.
Yes.
Because it has extremely large potential.
Yes. So to that point, I I'm wondering what are some of the effects that the artificial intelligence will have on, say, data protection act, because what you have happening is that a lot of times when we collect data when we're dealing with our clients, what tends to happen is that we have custody of those information. Now, can you imagine if someone would put a voice to Greg Lindo's face and suggest from a corporate finance standpoint or a treasury management standpoint, make a decision and send that out to the wider public as a representative of Grace Kennedy?
Yeah.
That has serious
Yeah,
implications.
it that has happened.
Yes, yes.
where they have used fake images
Yes.
to imitate CFOs.
Yes.
Well, in other countries,
Yes.
right? I don't remember the place now, but there was an instance of fraud
Yes.
involving a CFO, and it cost the company a large sum. And these are the risks that I mentioned earlier
Yes.
that we'll have to deal with.
Yes.
I think it's not at the point yet where, I mean, we can manage it, right?
Yeah.
There are ways to validate identities.
Yeah.
There's ways to verify identities. You
Yeah.
can have callbacks and you can have dual layers of approval. There are different things you
Yes.
can do to prevent instances like that. But with where the world is going, you know, I don't think it's going to be stopped. So we just need to figure out what's the best way to incorporate it in a safe way.
Yes.
There'll always be risk. You cannot eliminate risk.
Yes.
You can just try and
Mitigate
it
against
as
it.
best as possible.
Yes. So if I was to give any advice or recommendations in the new trends that are being incorporated in businesses, is that we must embrace them, but embrace them under a control mechanism. Under a control mechanism in which we have strategies to mitigate some of the risk factors so that we are better able to still serve our clients, but still protect our clients and protect even our own images, because it may be costly,
Yes, yeah.
yes. Down the line. You have mentioned a lot about how persons can improve businesses, some of the strategy that they can use. Is there any other advice you would give to a person that is considering starting business now, or a person that is already in business but he is hitting that ceiling and
Yeah, it's interesting you
yes,
asked me that because even just earlier I was on LinkedIn and I saw a video by Mark Zuckerberg, who,
yes,
for those that don't know, that's the creator of Facebook.
yes,
And he was giving a speech and he said that ideas are rarely born complete.
yes,
His message was start,
yes,
and as you progress, you develop that idea and you
yes,
learn more and it will grow and it will expand. But the key thing is to start, which is
yes,
what I would definitely encourage persons to do. Um, you know, you have roadblocks from time to time, but remember that stick to itiveness that I mentioned
yes,
before.
yes,
Sometimes it just means a longer step to greatness.
yes,
It doesn't mean that it's necessarily a point to stop,
yes,
but never stop innovating, thinking, or trying. If you're committing to doing business, if you're committing to entrepreneurship, then it has to be something that you're 150% committed to. If you're not, then it may not be the best thing for you.
yes. So at this juncture, I want to implore or recommend that persons who are desirous to get into business, that you must do what is called an entrepreneurial analysis. It's called entrepreneurial feasibility analysis, where you, in terms of when you're doing a feasibility analysis for your own business, you must also do one for yourself to see if the area of business that you're trying to get into actually matches your personality, actually matches your skills. Now, the stick to itiveness that you need in order to propel, the never give up attitude, the idea that I can start now and finish later, that sort of analysis is necessary so that you're able to, when you hit the wind, you know that you are going to stick to it. You're going to hit the pavement and continue. You must always do your entrepreneurial feasibility analysis to see if the skill set that is required is what you have, and you can push your business forward. Now, looking ahead, Sir Lindo, what is next for Sir Lindo in terms of Grace Kennedy, or even in your professional capacity?
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily speaking on behalf of Grace Kennedy.
Yes.
We're a publicly listed company, but
Yes.
what I can share is the 2030 vision, which is to be the number one Caribbean brand in the world by 2030. And we have a lot of plans to expand internationally. So what that means for me is just more exposure.
Yes.
My role now is a little different from what I'm used to. I'm
Yeah.
kind of on the other side of what I used to do, which
Yes.
makes it very interesting. And I'm just looking forward to future growth and some
Yeah.
opportunities to learn. Because
Yeah.
no matter how much you climb in corporate, there's always opportunities to learn. So
Yeah.
you just want to make sure that you keep on top of that.
And you continue to grow while you learn. If you stop learning, then you stop growing. And discomfort is your friend, Sir Lindo.
Definitely.
And you need to feel that discomfort in order to grow. So we would want to encourage a business owner that when you are facing the future, if you feel some level of discomfort, that is your friend. Own it and embrace it. That level of discomfort is going to propel you into the next level of your manifestation of your God-given purpose and push your business forward. How and where can persons find you?
I think LinkedIn is a pretty good place
Yes.
to reach out to me. I have a number of persons that reach out, so
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the best way.
Best way to reach out to Mr. Greg Lindo. There you have it. It was a edifying, a soothing. It was a conversation that allows you to think. And we are definitely happy to have you on the Business End Show. I'm certain the viewers and listeners was better for it. I want to thank you for coming here on the Business End and sharing your bit with us, Mr. Greg Lindo.
All right, thank you for having me. Thank you to you and your listeners.
And all the best for the future, as you said, as you expand into the global market with Grace Kennedy Limited 2030 vision. We wish you all the success and in your future endeavors. Now, we want to encourage our viewers and listeners to follow us at the Business End Show on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. You are the Business End Show tribe. That means you are the best. So continue to be your increasing best. Thank you.
Master Coach Apostle Courtney McLean and Business Coach Zidane Sinister are powered up to share their expertise on the business end. But don't forget to tell a friend or a colleague, and of course have your tools on hand, your notebook and your pen. Classes are in session every Tuesday, 3:30 on Gospel JA for the business end. Master Coach Apostle Courtney McLean and Business Coach Zidane Sinister await you.